Hey there, posture guys and gals, and welcome back to the Correcting Common Posture Deviation series. Today we're going to be talking about a particular posture deviation that is both near and dear to my heart. Literally, it's just a few inches away. You see, a little over 8 years ago, I had what's known as shoulder elevation, or an elevated shoulder, which is essentially what it sounds like. You have one shoulder higher than the other. I mean, I would look at myself in the mirror and it would look like I was wearing my left shoulder as an earring. It was that bad. Now, this in of itself, isn't, physically attractive, but I could live with it. Unfortunately, there was, several symptoms and limitations that came with it that I just wasn't willing to accept. Obviously my shoulder was hurting, my neck would be stiff a lot of times and painful. Sometimes it led to, headaches and migraines, kind of tightness in this left side of my head. Because my shoulder was out of position, a lot of the nerves in the shoulder and kind of armpit area would become impinged, and I'd have referral pain, otherwise known as thoracic outlet syndrome, down my arm. So I'd have throb in my elbow. Sometimes it felt like I had carpal tunnel syndrome. I would get nerve pains shooting down my arms. Granted, all these kind of came in waves, tingling and numbness in my hand, all of which just aren't fun. But what really did it for me, where I was just like, look, I cannot deal with this, was the limitations that came with it. Because you got to remember, I was 19, turning 20 at the time, doing some amateur bodybuilding, loved to be physically active, rock climb, play disc golf, go running, do all these other things, and I couldn't lift my arm higher than shoulder height, even with the assistance of the other arm, higher than there without there being excruciating pain. And I also had limitations going back, so I can go to about there, and then everything back this way, again, excruciating pain, like a 10 out of 10 or 11 out of 10. And, I tried a good dozen or so different types of methods and techniques to try to fix it, I guess you would say, or treat it, and nothing really worked until it finally led me to posture alignment therapy. And after doing an hour's worth of exercises, 3 of which I've posted down below this video for you to try if you too have shoulder elevation. After an hour, the pain, significantly dropped. And the big thing, the big eye-opener for me, is I went from being able to lift my arm from here to about there. And from here all the way back to about even with the rest of my torso. And, it may not seem like much, but I thought I'd already been, suffering from these pains and these limitations for, I think, five going on 6 months now. And so to do an hour's worth of exercise and get that type of results, I was just like, this is awesome. So I thought, okay, this is the type of gains I made in an hour. If I keep doing this, where am I going to be in a week, in 2 weeks, in a month, 2 months? Well, I kept on doing it, and 2 months later, I was able to lift my arm fully overhead, all the way to the side and back behind me. I was able, for the first time, or the first time in a very long time, able to do a handstand. Granted, assisted against a wall, but still a handstand, where I was bearing all my weight on my arms and my shoulder joints. So that was huge for me. I thought, wow, this posture alignment therapy really works. And I saw other people around me getting better, some with the same symptoms and postural deviations, others different. And I thought to myself, I've got to learn this method and share it with as many people as I can. And that started me on the path to become the posture guy and eventually making this video for you today, right now. So that's why, like I said, shoulder elevation is so near and dear to my heart. Thank goodness I got it, but if you have it, you're probably going, yeah, get to the point, how do we fix it? Well, over the years, people have asked me, all right, I have it, I see, I can recognize it now, I can identify it. How did it get that way? And there's a couple direct and indirect ways it could happen. We'll hit the indirect first. So if you haven't caught yet the previous Correcting Common Posture Deviations post about hip elevation, you should do so, because a lot of times I notice if someone has an elevated hip, doesn't matter which side it is, their shoulders will compensate by dropping one side. It could be the same shoulder, it could be the opposite. And so it could be a compensation. So if you also have hip elevation, try correcting that, and a good amount of time that corrects the shoulders. That'll tell you your shoulder's just compensating. Now, if it doesn't, or maybe you already have your hips already even, then you're most likely have some sort of dysfunction in your shoulders. That can come from, various muscle groups. I mean, you got the upper trapezius fibers that elevate your shoulder. You got the levator scapula, which goes from your shoulder blade to like your cervical spine. You got your rhomboid major and minor, which go from the inner border of your shoulder blade to your spine. Then you got the muscles that depress it or pull it down. So you've got the lower fibers of your trapezius, your serratus anterior, which kind of are these ones that go around your rib cage, as well as your pec minor, which go from the shoulder blade and attach here, kind of in the chest area, kind of diagonal like that. And at this point, maybe going, oh my gosh, that's so confusing, and all those muscles, and let me pull out an anatomy book. Well, you have to remember, the human body is designed and built in a complicated fashion so that its function could be simple. So I want you to forget about actually all the anatomy terms I just dropped on you, and that was kind of more for me, and if there's any other kind of anatomy geeks out there watching this, if that's not you, don't worry about it. Because the 3 exercises that I've posted below, they're going to focus on the function, on mobilizing the shoulders, the shoulder blades, and the spine. And as you go through those 3 exercises, trust me, you're going to feel all those muscle groups that I just described, you're going to feel them stretch and strengthen. And your body, being as amazingly capable and smart as it is, it'll figure it out, and it'll even out those shoulders, okay? So don't worry about the details, just focus on doing the exercises correctly, all right? And then after you've done them, please leave in the comment section below your results. How did you look and feel before doing the exercises and then after them, okay? Because I'd really like to know, and if there's anything else I can do to help, please don't hesitate to let me know, all right? Thanks for joining me inside this video. I look forward to seeing you inside the next one. Until then, take care and keep moving.